the fundraising journey, right? And I know we connected from Mike at Canvas Ventures, who's awesome and is an investor. So could you maybe kind of walk us through your fundraising journey and even kind of from the beginning?
Sure. I'll try and be quick because I think I'm being a bit long-winded here. But our first round, we raised a 500K round for the car wash business about 24 months after we launched the business. And I had actually met the investor who wrote the first check into that round, which was Contrary Capital. I met them like 6 months into launching the business. So we knew each other 18 months prior to him actually writing the first check into that seed round, which then parlayed into, 500K. He wrote 100 and then we got 500. So we raised that 500K round. We spent it way too quickly, quite candidly. And that's when we kind of had our backs up against the wall and we're having to figure out, do we transition over to NuBrakes or something like that? We ended up launching NuBrakes, and within 3 months, 90 days, we were at a 500K annualized run rate, growing, like triple digits month over month, but with small numbers. And we ended up raising a 700K round from Bling Capital in August 2019, so 3 months after launch. So that happened very quickly. We were, we had like, I think $10,000 in the bank, and we were just scraping by, and then we got that influx of capital from Bling. So, to that point, we had 2 seed rounds basically. So not particularly friendly, like from a cap table standpoint, from the founder's perspective, but it was a necessary nonetheless. And then we ended up, growth continued to be strong, and right as COVID onset, actually, so in the spring, so it was May, we ended up raising an additional $1.2 million on a safe round, and we kind of called it a seed extension. It was a safe round. Then we raised about 6 months after that, we raised a Series A from Canvas Ventures and Mike Ghaffari, who connected Mike and I. And then in the spring, we did an additional $4.5 million on a safe round right before that Series B term sheet got pulled. So we were happy to have that cash in the bank. And so we've raised a total of 16.9 to date. The most recent round was a non-priced safe round. The most recent price round was a Series A round.
Also, one note I had that I wanted to bring up on the topic of fundraising. So, kind of going back to the early days and kind of starting with, NuWash and then, pivoting into NuBrakes. How have you thought about kind of sequencing? And then when it comes to like, pitching to investors, starting with that kind of unique insider wedge and kind of expansion?
Yeah. So the second slide, and at which point we launched into NuBrakes, the second slide in my pitch deck very quickly became like our initial beachhead is brake repair. And the reason for that was like, everybody's like, why brake repair? Why don't you do all of these different services, right? That's what they all want to ask. And the reality is that it's a combination of things. It's the margin profile. It's a matter of focus. It's a matter of doing one thing really, really well before we start, expanding our scope. And so that's always my positioning is it's not a weakness that we're not trying to capture the full $72 billion a year market. We're focusing on this $12.5 billion segment, which is brake repair. We're going to do that really, really well. Our customers are already asking us for more things, and we're telling them no right now, unfortunately, but we will tell them yes eventually. And so that's kind of my positioning. And then, so that more or less that's kind of the positioning in a nutshell.